Momodora Reverie Under the Moonlight is an astounding piece of art that manages to use crisp gameplay mechanics and amazing visuals to tell a simple plot with finesse. I'm not even going to be subtle about it, this game is freaking great. I recently helped one of my colleagues write an article and video about one of my favorite games, Castlevania Symphony of the Night. In that article, I talk about the many problems with that game in particular and the potential problems out of Metroidvania style games. Thankfully, Momodora avoids those pitfalls and comes out on top. Now, disclaimer before I start the review. The review copy given to us by the publisher is for the PS4 version of the game. The video you are currently watching uses gameplay footage captured from the PC version. There's no real difference between both of these versions, and I just want to make that very clear before I confuse anyone. Anyway, let's continue with the review. I'm of the sound mind that a simple plot isn't necessarily a bad thing. There's legitimate brilliance in something simple with proper execution. Momodora is that type of game. There's enough plot that's given to be engaging, but subtle enough that gameplay and visuals are at the forefront. You play as Kaho, a priestess who is on a quest to lift a curse from a kingdom that is now spreading across the land. You must find the source of the curse and destroy it, all while exploring, fighting, and platforming across a gorgeous pixel art world. The story doesn't get any more complicated than that, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. Just because it's iterative doesn't mean that there aren't genuinely cool moments when the story beats do happen. Like mentioned earlier, the gameplay and the visuals are the real showstopper here, and probably what's most important about the game is how it balances Metroidvania type exploration with a solid combat system. Like many Metroidvania type games, you will do a lot of backtracking and exploration. How Momodora handles the backtracking is stellar, and it's something a lot of games should probably take note of. In Momodora, you explore a huge world where the overworld map slowly unfolds as you explore different rooms. A lot of these maps interconnect with each other, and they are divided by zones that are thematically different. The point of exploring is to find items, save points, or bosses, each with its own purpose of progression. Save points in particular are very important because they function very similarly to the bonfires in Dark Souls. They restore your health as well as restock all of your active items. The main issue with these type of games is that backtracking is such a slog, and oftentimes there's a real problem with how challenging and monotonous a room could potentially be. In Momodora, all rooms are balanced and know how to make an area feel distinguishable with others, while retaining enough challenge that the room isn't boring to go through. At the same time, no room is so ridiculously challenging that it makes backtracking a complete nightmare. When backtracking through an area, it makes no sense to have an obstacle so punishing, especially when you have to go through the area multiple times with enemies respawning every time you enter a room. Momodora makes rooms either combat encounters or platforming challenges, and when it combines the two, it never feels like one is overbearing. Also, because the visuals between each zone are so drastically different, along with the rooms being distinguishable enough from each other, it means the map isn't as imperative to your success as other Metroidvania style games. The overall level design of the game is so executed well that backtracking and exploration never feel bogged down because of the balance with the game's challenges. No dreaded Symphony of the Night like hallways to be found here. I mentioned challenge a lot in this video, and the combat is intuitive enough that many of these challenges can be conquered with finesse. Kaho has two main offensive attacks, a melee and range attack. While these can be upgraded, the basic concept of this never really changes. Both attacks serve a mechanical purpose and can be used in a variety of ways. What makes combat appealing is the fluidity of these attacks. Animations are incredibly smooth when committing to any action, with attacks feeling very heavy and having a very oppressive sound effect with each corresponding attack. The game's visual style and animations make combat feel fluid and rhythmic. There are items in the games that change up the gameplay a little, and you do feel like you are rewarded more often than not during your playthrough. These range from active items, passive items, and equipment. While these items are certainly helpful, it is how you play with the combat system that determines whether you succeed. As you play through the game, you get better at knowing the timing and effectiveness of your attacks, making success more based on skill rather than item accumulation. The crisp action combat system has a lot of parallels to Dark Souls in how the game handles combat and progression. A slick combat system combined with stunning animations makes every encounter one of finesse rather than RPG numbers. As you can tell from the gameplay footage, Momodora is a visual treat. The art style may be hit or miss with some, but there is no doubt that there was a lot of effort put into the animations of all the sprites and the effects. The game's soundtrack is also very good, with a range of bombastic scores for the boss battles to more ambiance-filled tracks for the various rooms. While music is very good overall, the quantity of what is actually there is on the lower end of the spectrum. Aesthetically though, what Momodora offers is quite great. Now if you've made it this far into the video, you can tell that I didn't have a lot of bad things to say about Momodora. This game's visual style, slick combat, and balanced progression makes this such a good value for how little the game costs. While the overall experience is short, there is enough replay value for those hardcore completionists. Momodora Reverie Under the Moonlight stands as a game that rides highly on mechanical and design strengths, showing that even a little game can make a bigger statement than those within its own genre. I give Momodora Reverie Under the Moonlight a 4.5 out of 5. Momodora is such a treat and I have no problem recommending it to those who like metroidvania style games or just like indie games in general. Thank you so much for watching this video review. Now if you want to read the full article, I will leave a link to that down below. And if you like the video, feel free to leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. We have a lot of things on the Hey4Player channel. I hope you enjoyed this review and have a wonderful day.